Here's the next claim that I see people making. That, well, Iran and Russia both had nukes, but so why don't we go after Russia then? You see this a lot. Collage C3 there, Applejack. And that brings us to a new segment, which we like to call Meme Check.
Welcome back, thinkers. This is Peacemaker. If you watched the last Ex MAGA Debunked video, you know Steven Crowder already destroyed the lie that Trump betrayed his base. In this video, Crowder's going after the 4 biggest memes that all the major talking heads have been pushing on Iran for weeks. And honestly, I used to low-key believe them and they used to stress me out until I fact-checked them. Let's keep watching.
Okay. That's fun. And this is where we're going to actually address some very popular memes out there that get shared, because we go, this is a great point. It's not. It's an untrue meme. I don't care. I know that I know your boomer grandmother or mother might like actually have her meme forwarding office as though it's a part-time job. Right. It doesn't mean that it's accurate. So the meme, and I've seen so many memes out there, well, if Iran has, what's that one? I'm attacking because they have nuclear weapons. Iran, why don't you attack Russia? Are you crazy? They have nuclear weapons. This has been shared out there millions and millions of times. And people go, yeah, it's a great point. Points out hypocrisy. Here's the truth. Iran never had nukes, dummy. They didn't have nukes yet. Hit truth, Toolman. Iran doesn't have nukes, dummy. That's the whole fucking point. The point is that they were past the point of no return where they could become the next Russia or China. You may not agree with it, but picture North Korea. We can't touch that crazy little Muppet bastard. Why? Because he has nukes, but they're a poor nation. So they're pretty much just isolated and off on their own. But think of the threats that you agree, China is a major threat as it relates to AI, as it relates to manufacturing. You think that the leverage of nukes helps? Do you think that, by the way, this is all part of the same problem? The Democrats' never-ending pledge to fund the war between Russia and Ukraine, which I am against, by the way. But do you think that Russia is less likely to come to the table and negotiate because they have nukes? The whole point here is Iran did not have nukes, but they were on their way. So we wanted to avoid specifically another China or a Russia with a much more, and I know this is crazy, I'm saying unstable nation, because it wasn't even run by a president, even if it's a dictator who's installed as a president or a prime minister, but basically second in command to God for this sect of Islam, the Ayatollah. You understand that, right? Iran was at 60% enriched uranium, okay, just to be clear. There has never been, ever, a non-nuclear state. There has never been another country that has passed the 20% threshold and not built a nuke. Do you believe that Iran would be the first? Answer. Answer. I really want an answer. Do you believe that they would be the first? Now, you can say, guarantee you Iran was going to build a nuke. We know that. All right. You can say, unstable regime, death cult. I still don't think it's America first to do anything. You can say that, or it's not the right time. Fine. Fine. But don't try and trot out your silly little tired shitty tropes comparing it to Iraq, because we're not just, it's not some guy.
I think Crowder nailed it. I think this is key, and I'm not sure why this is not more prevalent. No country has ever gone beyond 20% enrichment and not built a nuclear weapon. And why are we trusting, out of all countries, Iran with a nuclear weapon? Because when I think about Russia, China, North Korea having nuclear arms, they're just gonna use it to blackmail and to negotiate. But I feel like Iran will use it because their aim is not to have an earthly empire. Their aim is to have an eternal empire, their definition of eternal empire, which necessitates their sacrifice here on this earth, so they don't mind dying for their cause. So why are we even okay with Iran enriching beyond 20%, let alone 60%? 60%. That's not speculation. So I don't know why this is not more prevalent. I think we need to make a meme out of this and just propagate.
Or the IAEA, by the way, who said that Iraq did not have nukes, have said that they have nukes because this has been an ongoing. People go, oh, they've been saying that they're going to get a nuke for 5 years, for 10 years, for 30 years. Yeah, because we've watched the percentage go. It's like watching your battery percentage go down. You can watch it go, oh, okay, they're already past 20%. This would be the first nation that's never built nukes. So when you see this meme out there, people go, that's a good point. Russia has nukes. And Iran, why do we treat one different? Must be the Jews. Everything about that meme is wrong. Do you honestly believe that Iran was not going to build nuclear weapons? And then, in combination with Marco Rubio communicated, we were about a year to a year and a half away, whether you believe it or not. This is the case he presented. We were about a year to a year and a half away from not being able to stop them at all. In other words, to get to the point where they could build the nukes completely unfettered, where we wouldn't be able to do anything with short-range missiles, with one-way attack drones, they were about a year to a year and a half away from that, where we would no longer be able to negotiate with them because we'd have no leverage. They could be on their way to a nuke.
And to be clear on that, we talked about this yesterday, but when they do operations orders and plan a mission, they take into account how many casualties they expect to lose. So it would be something we could do something about, but it would probably be over that threshold.
Very costly.
Right.
So I think that's what he means by that, is like we have the capabilities, we could have still done it, but we would have lost so many more people, and it would have been such a bigger event of chaos.
Well, and the point that I'm making here is, I will tell you, look, I support right now seeing what I support this action in Iran. I do. I think that's been carried out pretty effectively. I know things could go sideways. I understand that. But I am arguing against the case for impeachment or staying home on election because you believe that this is such a deep betrayal. Do you believe that Donald Trump pulled a 180? I don't think you can make a case. Do you believe that Iran was no threat? You believe they weren't on their way to building nukes? I don't see how you can make the case. You'd have to take a leap in faith that they would be the first nation to ever get to that threshold and not. They're such a good faith actor that they are not going to build a nuke. So my case is, do you really believe that this judgment call militarily is worth throwing everything else out? And that brings us to the next meme, because I see people going, yeah, well, the thing is, he hasn't done anything he's promised. Closed border, 95% reduction, nothing. 3 million deportations, nothing. Voter ID, nothing. I get some of them are executive orders, but you're going to say that this is nothing because you're making the case that there should be no MAGA, there should be no America First, there should be no conservative movement in this country, that Iran warrants the evaporation of it, because that's what we're facing, to be clear. I'm saying that I think we can have disagreements on this, and we still don't want to hand this country over to the left. This goes to the next claim. That is very, very lazy. All references, check the links. People will say, oh, it's a meme too. So Trump can bomb the Ayatollah, but not solve, insert domestic problem here, not deal with homeless, not deal with ICE protesters in Miami. Do you have this? Yeah, this meme right here. Mm-hmm. The U.S. government funding relief checks, healthcare, and infrastructure. No, the U.S. government funding the military. Okay, all right. So a couple of points here. First off, a lot of those images are from blue cities. When I see people on the right using these talking points, I'm just, just hit truth, because I'm going to go along with I had a whole bunch of things that I was going to say, but you know what? There's so many points. Those are blue cities. You think Donald Trump can control what happens in Philly or Portland? You think he can bomb Philly or Portland?
No, just targeted missiles at the homeless.
Right. And here's the other thing. You could give every single druggie and homeless person in those, you could give them $100,000 today. By the end of the week, you'd have the same exact problem. So this idea is very leftist, that if we just throw money at the problem, that'll fix it. Then we can also get to the budgetary issues, too. We'll get to that. You do realize $140 to $450 billion a year illegal immigrants cost taxpayers. $500 billion a year in fraud. Right? Like, you guys understand, like, these things need to be dealt with. We are not even close to a drop in that bucket when we're talking about the military. Here's the other truth that's really important, okay? For the same reason that everyone in the DNC and people like Dave Smith and Tucker Carlson are wrong when they say this is an illegal war, they're wrong. The president, on issues of foreign policy, the president is as close to, is not, but as close to basically a monarch as you get in this country. Yeah, he can bomb any insane dictator that he wants, to be clear. He can go out, he can do that. He has a window of time to let Congress, and even then, people will argue that's unconstitutional. You can see Donald Trump do it. You can see Barack Obama. Every single president has done something like this. He has the ability to go out and do it. On domestic matters, it's the opposite. The president is more of a figurehead, to be clear. It largely rests with the legislative. On the domestic issues, he has to deal with mayors and sanctuary cities and governors not cooperating with ICE. And governors also protecting illegal aliens. Then it has, how many times have you seen something go through the courts, local courts, all the way up to the Supreme Court? There are all kinds of mechanisms to create gridlock. What this proves is that when an administration is free to carry out an action unilaterally, it's far more effective. Iran enrichment facilities, Venezuela, even what we are seeing right now, if you disagree with it. Foreign policy, president has a lot of authority. Domestic issues, unless you completely want to do away with states' rights, because he'd have to go in and basically destroy blue cities, which I'm not completely against, then you understand why this meme is silly and it's stupid. It's like, well, this thing isn't perfect, so then we don't give credit for this thing. So it does matter. It does matter to be accurate. Also, one final, when we're talking about this, the first day of operations in Iran cost about $779 million, right? This was written up everywhere. But going like 700 sounds like a lot. That's 0.09% of our total defense budget.
Wow.
To be clear. So what that tells me is, hey, maybe our defense budget needs to be looked at because we could be doing stuff like this. What's happening on a day-to-day basis? In other words, we could spend a smaller percentage on a day-to-day basis at war in our defense budget than while we remain effectively idle. So to act like that somehow has anything to do with mayors and governors in Minneapolis, Minnesota, blocking presidential authority is to play into the hands of the left, along with saying that Donald Trump betrayed his base, along with saying that, well, only Israel would have an interest in Iran not having nukes or not being a global power. It's disingenuous at best, it's uninformed, and it prevents us from having the legitimate conversation as to what kind of military intervention, if any, is appropriate. But we shouldn't have this conversation based on lies and stupid memes that your grandma forwarded because she watched Tucker's newest episode and likes that he has spunk. This has been...
I just want to stop on this one. The illegal war framing is obviously false. Every single modern president from both parties has used some sort of military force exactly like this, including Obama. And to hear from Crowder that the first day of Epic Fury cost only about 0.09% of the total defense budget, this isn't a war yet. It's a line item. And here's a part that actually gets to me. The same people who'll tell you for hours that the system's rigged, the deep state runs everything, nothing works in the United States, suddenly they're strict constitutionalists when the President Trump does something they don't like. That is no principle. That's convenience. Let's finish this out.
Fucking meme check. We just run a stinger one more.
No, it's fair. Yeah, you have to do it. By the way, really quickly, so as we were talking about this, the rapid response account that we had a problem with for clipping the worst context portion of that speech actually put out another post with the actual best portion of it. We don't have to play the clip, but basically in the text they say, basically, did you go, they asked the question, did you go for Israel? And say Marco Rubio saying no, and then the rest of the answer. And it's like, that's the first thing you put out.
Right.
Don't have to come back and fix this mistake.
Right.
But at least they did.
Yeah. They get, it was a layup and they allowed it to take place.
Yeah.
And that brings us to, people will be out there and they'll point out Israeli propaganda. I get it. Obviously that happens. And by the way, all nations do it, just to be clear. You don't think that two mommies and transitioning and sex change surgery in the United States military, you don't think that was propaganda from the Biden administration? And you don't think it's propaganda to varying degrees when this administration retitles it the Department of War and says we are going to be the strongest, fittest military? It's propaganda. Yeah. It's about getting your country to believe in the agenda and the direction of your administration. So all nations do it. And I don't think we should be following Israel's lead as far as their propaganda on anything. I don't think we should be sending them a bunch of money. I don't think there should be a blank check. I don't think we should be led into war if it's only in their interest. Period. I think we should be leading the dance in all facets, including trade, including AI, including militarily, And by the way, I think we need to rethink our European alliances. Spain now saying we're not going to let you use the bases that you have here. Hope you siesta with one eye open, you stupid faggots. Oh, think about that, Spain. Oh, I can't believe that the United States would do. What? You can't believe that we might not need your permission considering you haven't paid your contractually obligated bill for decades? It's such a moral wrong for us to deal with the regime in Iran that you are going to prevent us from using bases that, by the way, have also helped maintain the existence of your indefensible country.
A country that did not help at all.
Right.
In a bunch of different conflicts last century.
Yeah.
Lucky to be in NATO in the first place.
Right.
No kidding.
Right. So a lot of nations have vested interest. Israel will put up, Spain wants to put up propaganda that, my God, they're a real country anymore. Kind of like Canada. But my primary concern is with a lot of propaganda coming from Iran right now. And the reason why that's a primary concern is because I see people who claim to be America first parroting propaganda from Iran with no semblance of fact-checking or due diligence. Here's just some of it.
Is that an F4?
I like how they made Iranians look American.
Yeah, it's like Mexican soap operas.
Look at how much water we have.
All the water.
Look, our trucks are camouflaged.
Whoa, you will never see us coming.
No, you don't think it's a raspberry bush. It's a tanker.
Small people makes it look bigger.
Yeah, and here's some other examples, by the way.
Green camouflage in Iran.
And there's misinformation out there, so it's hard to know what's true. My issue is with people who should know better, who know that it's hard to know what's true and simply want to be first or want to score pot shots against consistently the United States. So here's one out there. The United States and Israel hit a school and they killed a bunch of kids, bunch of innocent children. The United States, clearly, without the whole picture, without all the information, this was immediately parroted by Gavin Newsom and Jeffrey Sachs and the like.
We have to reconcile why our bombs were used or Israeli bombs were used to kill children, young girls at a school, and what the imminent threat was.
They're killing schoolgirls. No one even pauses. 150 schoolgirls bombed by Israel. No one even mentions these things. It's absolutely shocking, disgraceful, dangerous, bankrupting our country, and Trump lied.
And that was parroted by the have Jackson Henkel, you have Deb Smith, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Okay. Here's the thing. I will tell you, I can't fact check it because at this point in time, it's still unclear as to whether the United States did that. My issue is with people immediately assuming that the United States did that and implying that there was some nefarious motive, immediately and consistently painting the United States as the bad guys who target innocent children. Someone does that, I go, oh, well, it doesn't sound like you're America first. Keep in mind that many of the same people saying, well, here you go, here's your America first, the United States military killing children, were the same people who were offended at the idea that the Israeli military go to lengths to protect civilians. I'm not saying the Jews are perfect. What I'm saying is there's an inconsistency in your level of offense when you're effectively calling American troops baby killers. Play the clip.
As an American, permit me a moment of outrage, because I said many civilians have been killed. Yeah. And you said, right in the middle of your elaborate defense of the IDF's killing of civilians, including children, you said they do a better job than the United States does. That's my country and my government.
It's
which
my
I
country.
Consider.
What flag am I wearing here?
Well, I'm asking, why is it
What flag am I wearing?
Well, that's, of course, my flag as well.
And it's my
US
flag. It's who I serve.
So why the dig at the United States in the
it's
middle?
not a dig
it
at
was.
them. No. You've totally misrepresented
What did
that.
you mean by that?
I did not take a dig at the U.S. What I'm saying
You
is...
said the IDF is more humane than the U.S.
And by the way, I probably agree with Tucker Carlson on more things in that interview than Governor Mike Huckabee, to be clear. But if you're going to be offended at that and say, I can't believe that you would imply the United States isn't as humane as Israel, Do you have the same level of offense for people who immediately go, United States, baby killers? Because you know who doesn't think that we're baby killers? The Iranian people all across the globe. All across the globe. Not saying that we should go to war for the Iranian people. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is the Iranian people probably would have the strongest motivation to say, hey, the United States, you're the bad guys. You're killing innocent children. Instead, they're dancing in the streets. So I ask you, why are commentators and influencers who accuse anyone of disagreeing with them, the people who call for the impeachment of Donald Trump, the people who say stay home during the midterms, why are they always immediately saying United States military are baby killers and they're doing it on purpose? So I can't tell you if we did do this. I would be willing to bet if it did happen that it obviously wasn't targeted. And I would direct you to, again, what was a fantastic press conference from Marco Rubio. This is how one should approach the fog of war.
Can you tell us what you know, Mr. Secretary, of the administration knows about the strike on a building in southern Iran? The Iranians saying that the school reports of large buildings, including children killed.
Yeah, I've seen those reports. I don't have, I would refer you, not because I'm not trying to answer your question, but I don't want to get it wrong. The Department of War would be investigating that if that was our strike. And I would refer your question to them, and I'll make sure they're aware that you have that question. But we'd like to know.
American missile.
Well, clearly, the United States would not deliberately target a school. Our objectives are missiles.
Clearly.
Both the ability to manufacture them and the ability to launch them, and the one-way attract drones. That would be our focus, and that's what we would be focused on. We would have no interest and, frankly, no incentive to target civilian infrastructure. The Iranians are, on the other hand, targeting civilian infrastructure. You guys have seen it. I'm sure you've seen it. They're hitting hotels. They're hitting embassies. They're hitting airports. They're hitting oil infrastructure. Well, it'd be very tragic, but I can't speak to the details behind it because I just don't have it.
I think that's a good way to handle it.
There you go.
By the way, I could present to you the other, which would also be propaganda, because some people are parroting this and they haven't done their due diligence either. There's an unverified telegram stating that Iran knew they struck their own school by accident, used it, or on purpose, used it for propaganda. That cannot be confirmed. So I can tell you that neither one is confirmed. I can also provide some context. The Iran Revolutionary Guard facility is located right next to a school. I can also provide you some context. The same people who immediately jump and accuse this administration and accuse American troops of being baby killers are the same people who blamed, for example, the IDF for that Al-Ali hospital. Remember that explosion? Mm-hmm. It was caused by Islamic jihadists, and they didn't retract it. Let me be really simple with this. If there is collateral damage, and there always will be in war, on the opposing side of the United States, with incomplete information, as an America First person, I tend to believe that the United States is more likely to be the good guys than Iran. That's my default position. Why is yours the opposite? That's my question. Why is yours that the United States military are the bad guys who are targeting children? And how can you logically justify your position in comparison, not in a vacuum, to Iran and the Ayatollah, Satan rape his soul? Here's another one. Facts are still coming out, but there are people who parroted this. Why would people so quickly want to parrot a loss to the United States? Spoiler alert, not true. Iran struck the USS Abraham Lincoln. You know who got in on this action? You're in good company. Chinese state media with their propaganda.
当地时间3月1号下午，伊朗伊斯兰革命卫队发布第7号公告说
Oh, they got incredible footage of this.
号航母遭到伊朗4枚弹道导弹袭击。伊朗武装部队对敌方军事力量的强力打击已进入新阶段，陆地和海洋都将成为侵略者的坟场。美国方面对此暂无回应。
Whoa.
Oh, he split it in half.
I guess they had a documentary filmmaker there. And it was parroted by Al Jazeera, Russia Today, a bunch of other places. And of course, the Black Pill, the dissident right. Here's the truth. The Lincoln was not hit. The missiles launched didn't even come close. That's what we know right now. The Lincoln continues to, this comes to us, by the way, from CENTCOM. The Lincoln continues to launch aircraft in support of CENTCOM's relentless campaign to defend the American people by eliminating threats from the Iranian regime. So it wasn't true. The issue is that was parroted by... Now, why would people, the same people who jump to accuse the United States military of being baby killers and Donald Trump are betraying their base, same people, by the way, saying that this is an illegal war, also be really, really quick to jump the gun and say, look, the Lincoln was hit. Iran is effective. Are you starting to put it together? Hey, do you like what you saw?
So there you have it. 4 viral Iran memes, all pushed by people calling themselves America First. And all of them are debunked in under 20 minutes. Now, here's a pattern Crowder just exposed that nobody else wants to talk about. Every single one of these memes was also being pushed by Chinese state media and Russia on the same day. Let that sink in for you. Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, Jeffrey Sachs, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Gavin Newsom, all different political tribes. Same talking points, same sources. When the Ex MAGA crowd and Chinese state propaganda are running the same messages on the same day, you need to interrogate them. One of them isn't who they say they are. CCP is very seductive, very effective. They know how to infiltrate a culture. They don't come in the form of Chinese. They come in the form of memes and your favorite talking heads. Subscribe if you're new.